And again, this lesson 295 is another one in that same vein, where it says, Christ asks that he may use my eyes today. That he wants to use, and that it's symbolic. It's not just with our vision that we see, but with our thoughts that we think, with the words that we say, with the sounds that we hear, that he may use my awareness today. And thus, look at that, and thus redeem the world. And again, that's a pretty darn powerful line. What it's saying is, through you the world is redeemed. Through you. Do we believe that? Through you, not through somebody else, not through somebody who's finished the course, or somebody you think has done the course really good, or through some, spiritual master. Through you, through us. We are the spiritual master. We are the one that Jesus was talking about. And I think that's a powerful statement. It is redeemed through me today. Now, if we make mistakes, because we all make mistakes, we don't always think as kindly about others, and a lot of times we don't think very kindly about ourselves. But what this is saying is, you can choose again. Nothing limits you except the focus in your life. Where is your focus? Is it on sharing vision with the Holy Spirit, or beating yourself up because you don't share vision with the Holy Spirit? Marilyn gave me a sweet little book last week. I meant to bring it back to you, Marilyn, but I forgot. I forgave myself. But she had shared this before, that in her third grade class, she's told a story about, I guess this is something that a lot of the teachers do, evidently. This book called Filling My Bucket, Filling Your Bucket. How full is your bucket? And it's a cute little story, and it's very simple. I had it sitting on my desk, and Jeffrey came home, our son, who's 18, and he goes, oh, this is cute, and he just picked it up, and he loved reading it, because it reminds that he kept all of his books when he was little, all these cute little big picture books, and he would open that up, and he read all the way through it, and he says, that's a nice story. It's a really nice story. And I thought, here's an 18-year-old reading, how full is your bucket? And I like that he thought this. I said, yeah, it's a good story, isn't it? And the message is this, is that there's a boy and his sister who's kind of little, and she knocks stuff over, and then he gets mad at her, and every time he gets mad at her, she doesn't mean to do it, but she's kind of, rambunctious, that when he gets mad at her, his bucket empties. His grandpa says there's a bucket above, everybody's got a bucket. And he says the nice things you do, you fill your bucket, and the mean things you do, you empty your bucket. And so he goes to school, and he notices when people are mean, he feels like his bucket is less and less empty. And then when somebody does something nice to him, he notices that his bucket, the imaginary bucket above his head, starts getting some water in it. And then he realizes when he gives to somebody else, he not only helps to fill their bucket because they feel kind of lonely, but it fills his bucket as well. And then he starts saying, I kind of like how that is. And then he goes home, and the dog had ripped the arm off the little dolly of his little sister. And he thought everybody was going to yell at the dog for doing that. And then he thought, I wonder if dogs have a bucket. And so he was more compassionate to the dog. And in doing so, the little dog's bucket was more filled, and so was his bucket. And he could begin to see, this is all metaphorically, that there's not a real bucket above any of our heads, but we feel better. We fill up with the truth of who we are when we give to one another.